Raging Weatherbull, meteorologist Joe Bastardi. Our late afternoon update here on Dorian. Um, First of all, I'm going to show you some maps later. This west-southwest move that's forecasted, the European has been notoriously good at picking those things out. Now it overdid it last year with Florence, where it drove it down to Georgia like that. But I'm going to show you some examples later on. So here we go, and keep your eye on this tomorrow. This 24 hours, and we go out to 48. So it's moving west northwest to northwest. This is coming westward. And 72 hours, you see it there. And this is probably a low developing north of the Yucatan. And here we are at 96 hours. And so it drifts southwestward. 120, it drifts westward. And 144, it makes the turn up to the coast. And you can see what's going on here in the western Gulf of Mexico. And then I'll tell you what, this is as nasty a situation as you could, I'm going to say, possibly have if it rides the coast like that, because even though it will weaken, it will maintain enough intensity to just where it made landfall, it'd be devastating. But if it doesn't hit south of West Palm Beach, it may stay offshore. And that's something that we have to consider here. The GFS continues to trend further west and south with it, and it actually gets it in even further here. It actually has it coming in here now and getting pretty far west. But here's the European out at 216, and then 240 is just sort of sitting there over South Carolina. So a real pain in the neck situation. Now, I like that west-southwest bend. I've seen this do this before. I remember Isidore, and Isidore was forecast to be a Category 4 hurricane heading for Galveston. And I was on MSNBC Sunday morning and caught this. The European kept saying it. I bid on it. And this is back in the old days when I used to be on MSNBC. I don't think I'd ever be on MSNBC now. Not because I wouldn't do it, it's because I don't think they want to hear anything from me. But, whatever. Here was a notable storm, Joaquin, which went to the southwest that the European caught. And Irma, while Irma did not go west-southwest, it bent into the coast, and the European caught that, because remember the GFS had it up in here. So I think the European is going to do a good job here, and that means that if this is right, this is a devastating storm for Nassau. From this morning, I was telling my client Nassau, I said, well, if it goes up through here, it's not going to be too bad. If it comes through that little gap there and then sits around Nassau, it goes from, okay, we missed and we're okay, to, oh my goodness, right? Because it's a prolonged siege with it. Now here, notice what happened here. This is Cleo in 64, hit Miami as a Category 2, Category 1, and then kept on up and then wound up in South Carolina here. So that's 64 with Cleo. And here's David, which hit in 1979. And you can see, we all know what Matthew did. Matthew got north of the bend and stayed offshore, and then eventually went out. So that's going to be kind of crucial, because if it gets on shore, it actually make a landfall here because the way Florida bends. But when you have this kind of coastline and the storm is just offshore, it's almost impossible for it to go onshore. Okay, so that's something that certainly of consideration. By the way, I heard from my son, Garrett, and he showed me what was going on. He actually showed me the icon model, which apparently nailed the fact that Dorian was going to go off to the east like that. But in any case, this is something that I hadn't looked at. I wasn't looking at the icon model. Dorian went to the east of Puerto Rico, so it nailed that forecast. It just goes to show the one thing that you don't look at, what happens. All right, that's it for now. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.